Imagine standing on a vast frozen plain 20,000 years ago, during the peak of the last ice age. The landscape is a barren, dry tundra, swept by howling winds that drop the temperature to 40 below zero. Glaciers miles thick cover most of the northern hemisphere, and sea levels have plummeted by 400 feet. Deadly predators like cave lions, saber-toothed tigers, and short-faced bears roam the landscape, hunting for their next meal. It is the most hostile, lethal, and unforgiving environment in the history of the human species. A single mistake, a torn boot, or a wet match could mean freezing to death in a matter of minutes. And yet, our ancient ancestors did not just survive this brutal frozen landscape. They thrived, expanded, and conquered the elements through pure biological resilience, intelligence, and cooperation. Welcome to the incredible, untold story of how prehistoric humans survived the deadliest ice age. To survive temperatures that could freeze human flesh in seconds, our ancestors had to invent the world's first thermal clothing. They could not rely on simple loose animal skins wrapped around their shoulders like in the movies. Instead, they developed a revolutionary technology, the bone needle. Using sharp flint stones, they carved tiny needles from animal bones, complete with hollow eyes to hold thread. They used animal sinew, dried tendons, and plant fibers as strong, flexible thread. With this needle, they sewed multiple layers of tight, windproof fur coats that fit their bodies perfectly. They placed the soft fur side facing inward to trap body heat, and the tough leather side facing outward to block the freezing wind. They created early forms of parkas, trousers, mittens, and insulated leather boots stuffed with dry grass for warmth. This thermal clothing was so advanced that it was biologically identical to the clothing used by modern Inuit cultures today. To pierce the thick hides before sewing, they developed sharp obsidian drills and awls, punching neat rows of holes. This prevented the leather from tearing under the stress of running and hunting in the snow. But staying warm was only half the battle. They also needed shelter. In the barren plains of ancient Ukraine and Russia, there were absolutely no trees to build wooden huts. So our ancestors turned to the largest building material available, the bones of woolly mammoths. In archaeological sites like Prehistoric, scientists discovered complex huts constructed entirely from mammoth bones. They used heavy mammoth skulls and jawbones as the foundation to anchor the structure against high winds. They built the walls using rib bones and tusks, interlocking them like wooden logs. They covered the entire bone frame with heavy mammoth hides, sealing the interior from the cold. A single mammoth bone hut required the bones of over 90 individual mammoths and could shelter up to 50 people. Inside these bone fortresses, they kept a central campfire burning, fueled by animal fat and dried bones. To survive the freezing winters, they also learned to build snow shelters, discovering that packed snow acts as an excellent thermal insulator to trap body heat. To survive the freezing winters, they also had to secure a steady supply of high-calorie food. They hunted massive megafauna like woolly mammoths, reindeer, and woolly rhinos. They used advanced group tactics, driving the massive beasts into natural pits, muddy riverbanks, or steep ravines. Once trapped, they used wooden spears tipped with razor-sharp stone blades to bring the animal down. A single mammoth provided thousands of pounds of meat, fat, and bone marrow, enough to feed the tribe for months. But how did they preserve this meat when they could not eat it all immediately? They dug deep pits into the frozen soil, creating the world's first natural permafrost refrigerators. The frozen ground kept the meat fresh and safe from bacteria for months, ensuring survival through the winter. They also formed a vital alliance with another Ice Age survivor, the wolf. Over thousands of years, friendly wolves integrated into human camps, attracted by food scraps. These wolves evolved into the first domesticated dogs, assisting humans in hunting and guarding camps. Dogs use their sharp senses to detect predators long before they could surprise the camp. During freezing nights, humans and dogs slept close together to share body heat. This survival practice gave rise to the phrase three-dog night, referring to a night so cold you needed 3 dogs to stay warm. But the ultimate key to their survival was not tool-making or hunting, it was their social network. Prehistorics reveal that they traded items across vast networks, creating a safety net for cold periods. Prehistoric tribes did not live in complete isolation. They built massive alliance networks across hundreds of miles. They exchanged materials like flint, amber, and seashells, forming bonds of trust between distant groups. When a local blizzard destroyed a hunting ground, a tribe could travel to a neighboring territory for shelter and food. This social cooperation was a unique human adaptation that Neanderthals struggled to replicate. Neanderthals lived in smaller, isolated groups, making them highly vulnerable to sudden environmental changes. By building large networks, Homo sapiens spread the risk of survival across the entire continent. We are the descendants of these ultimate Ice Age survivors. Our bodies carry the exact same genetic code that survived 40,000 years of freezing tundra. But today, we live in a world of constant heating, warm beds, and insulated homes. We have engineered all physical friction out of our daily lives. We complain if the room temperature drops by 2 degrees, or if our winter coat is not fashionable. We have become soft because we have forgotten the freezing plains that forged us. To reclaim your natural resilience, you must expose your body to voluntary cold. Turn off the heater, take a cold shower, or run in the winter air. Show your DNA that you still need the ancient survival systems to stay sharp and strong. Do not let modern comfort decay your mind and body. Step out of the warm room, embrace the cold, and connect with the Ice Age survivor inside you. Your ancestors built shelters from mammoth bones and sewed fur coats with bone needles. They survived the deepest freeze of the earth so that you could stand here today. Stop seeking constant comfort, embrace the cold, and stay strong. They understood that their medicine was a direct gift from the ecosystem they lived in. By respecting and protecting wild plants, they preserved their own medical safety net. In winter, they stored dried yarrow and wild herbs in small leather bags to prepare for emergencies. This show of planning and foresight was crucial for their survival during long migrations. They also used crushed shells to make mineral pastes that strengthened teeth and nails. They drank willow bark tea to reduce fevers and treat headaches after a long day of hunting. This ancestral pharmacy was the result of millions of trials and errors across generations. We must preserve this knowledge, for it represents the survival history of our species. The next time you get a scratch, clean it with warm water and trust your body to heal. Your biology has survived millions of years of threats and predators. You are the end product of a long line of successful, resilient ancestors. Live in alignment with your nature, eat clean food, and seek voluntary challenges. Do not let comfort make you fragile, for strength is your birthright. Step out into the cold, move your body, and reclaim your natural power. Stay strong, stay resilient, and always honor the ancient healers. They did not have the luxury of warm cars, supermarkets, or synthetic insulated jackets. They had to face the elements naked, armed only with their tools and their minds. By choosing the difficult path, they forced their bodies to adapt and survive. Our modern society has turned us into prisoners of convenience and comfort. We sit in heated rooms, staring at screens, wondering why we feel so anxious and lost. We must reconnect with the ancient survival programming inside our DNA. Expose your body to the cold, walk barefoot on natural ground, and lift heavy weights. Do the things that make you uncomfortable and watch your strength grow. Reclaim your focus, rebuild your drive, and honor the legacy of the Ice Age survivors. They also developed a deep understanding of fire management, learning to transport glowing embers inside hollow horns. This allowed them to restart campfires quickly, without wasting valuable time rubbing stones together in freezing blizzards. They used mammoth fat as fuel for stone lamps, lighting up their bone huts during the long polar nights. The smoke from these fires kept the interior of the huts dry and free from mold. They also developed a unique biological adaptation to the cold, increasing their brown fat levels. This active tissue burned calories at a rapid rate to generate direct metabolic body heat. This allowed them to survive temperatures that would kill a modern, pampered human. They had to remain physically active, running and carrying wood to keep their metabolic engines burning. Our modern lifestyle has replaced this thermal friction with central heating and air conditioning. We live in a constant artificial climate of 72 degrees, deactivating our brown fat completely. This leaves us feeling cold, fragile, and sensitive to every minor seasonal change, We must choose to expose ourselves to thermal challenges to reactivate our evolutionary biology. Expose your skin to the cold air, take cold showers, and let your body heat itself naturally. Do not fear the winter. Embrace it as a training tool for your health and mind. Your ancestors conquered the most brutal ice age in Earth history with nothing but bone needles and fire. You carry their DNA, their resilience, and their ability to overcome extreme hardships. Reclaim your focus, build your physical strength, and stop hiding in comfort. Walk outside in the cold, breathe the crisp air, and let your body adapt. Stay strong, stay resilient, and always honor the ancient survival legacy. They understood that their community was their shield, and their survival was a group success. By working together and sharing the friction, they conquered the coldest era in history. Let their strength guide your daily health choices and build your mental focus today.